This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
I mean, you can see right now, without LeBron, Lakers are struggling.
Let me tell you about a team I hate, all right? I know Littell's got
This win, I don't know, Jack. It's a big decision.
I've often said that the people who run baseball, they try very hard to ruin it.
I'm from Brooklyn. I don't have a problem with saying space.
Pittsburgh at Buffalo.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought I was right. So anyway,
Yeah, Mac, you're really interested in these playoffs.
so
This is a presentation of Northeast Streaming Sports.
Good morning. You're listening to the Mac and Jack Sports Show on Northeast Streaming Sports.
I'm ready for this. I hope you all are ready for this too. As welcome to NESSP in the morning, the first show out on our Roku channel. We come at you every morning, Monday through Friday. My co-host Jack Hirsch is still on vacation. Won't be back till April 10th, if I'm not mistaken. So good morning to everyone out there as we start your day off here on the Roku channel. So everyone is talking about the women's college basketball game. They're writing about it. All these former journalists are writing about it. Of course, all the shows on all the networks are talking about it. But there was a time where really nobody cared. You know, we all believe Caitlin Clark is the all-time scorer, but not so fast. A player named Lynette Woodwards really is. And this happens in all sports and all the time. We know Bruce Smith is the all-time sack leader, but he's really not. Deacon Jones is. They started counting sacks stats way into his career. So it looks like he has less sacks than he really did, but really Deacon Jones is the sack leader of all time. So just like that, this young lady Woodwards, she's really the all-time leader. They just weren't, they really didn't care back then, right? The NCAA they really didn't care about women's basketball. So to sum it up bluntly, the old NCAA didn't want female sports. They only cared about the men. But these stats and these records shouldn't be dismissed just because the NCAA really put asterisks next to it, right? They didn't fly the women anywhere like they do today. They were in vans or buses and were driven, like the minor leagues are today, to their destinations. So after playing a game, you jumped in the bus or the van and you went all night in this and whatever vehicle transportation you had, then you played again. So from 1978 to 1981, many of these points were scored. 2 years, just like Caitlin Clark. So I read an interesting article about it. That this really was the leader of the women in scoring. The female college sports in basketball really didn't come to its heights until the UConn women started coming onto the national scene there. They had that perfect season. They went back to back with their great teams. Gino Auriemma, the head coach, of course. And, Gino Auriemma was really kind of ridiculed back then. Why are you coaching a women's basketball team? Kind of controversial. It was all women coaches at the time. Aren't you good enough to coach a men's basketball team? I remember hearing that, being from Connecticut. Gino just knew what buttons to push on which players, like all great coaches do. You could see him today with his star he has there, Bukers, sorry. He came out and he said, we're going to go as far as she will take us in the tournament. And Bukers must like this kind of attention. This is maybe what she thrives off of. And that sent a message without saying anything to the rest of the teammates to jump on board here. If you want to do anything, you got to up your game a little bit. So, Gino Auriemma, one of the greatest women's basketball coaches of all time. UConn is in the Final Four for the 23rd straight year in a row under Auriemma. And Bucher, who was injured last year, I don't know if you all remember, she had that knee problem where I think she broke her knee or came close to it anyway. It was very injured last year. This year, she had operated on it in the offseason. She comes back and, kind of, plays her a few minutes here and there until she can get back to full strength at the end of the year. And now it's paying dividends in the playoffs, right? UConn is back there again. I don't know if they'll go to a championship or not this year, but hey, they're in the Final Four. They got as good a chance as anybody now. Let's see. They're going to be playing against Iowa and Caitlin Clark. They were asking Gino, how do you stop? Caitlin Clark, he just says you don't. You just try to manage it. He said he called all the head coaches that went up against her. They hung up on him, right? So, that's going to be a problem. You kind of beat the number one ranked USC Trojans, led by Juju Watkins. They were, like I said, they were ranked number one. Juju led them in scoring, and what a player she is, a freshman who really came on the scene and wowed everybody this year. Bucher's had 28 points in an 80-73 win for UConn. LSU versus Iowa. This is the popularity of how popular women's college basketball has become. Was the most bet upon game in college basketball history. Now, before the game, LSU was heavily scrutinized by not being on the floor during the national anthem. The head coach said, we didn't know what time it was going to be played. Well, it's going to be played before the game. That's when it's going to be played. And, of course, Iowa was there, so somebody told Iowa, what time it was going to be played. I guess LSU didn't get the message. Maybe it's a conspiracy, right? Maybe they wanted them to look bad. But a great game. Great game. Iowa jumped out quick. LSU came back in the end of the second quarter, beginning of the third quarter. And then Iowa kind of kicked it into gear in the fourth quarter, coming away with a win, hard-fought win. So Caitlin Clark had the ball in her hands the whole game, shooting and passing like a point guard. Scored 41 points, had 12 assists. The difference this year between last year, because she scored 41 points last year against LSU, was her teammates. Her teammates played a lot better. And you can have your superstar scoring all the points. Good morning, Gene. Glad you're aboard this morning. Great network, sports, wire to wire sports. Building a nice little network over there. Gene doing a great job. Welcome in this morning. So they put the ball in their superstar's hands, like you should. Let her control the game. So we're at the Final Four now. Ready for some MAC action? Yeah, I'm ready for some MAC action too. Well, maybe that's a new tag. Get some MAC action in the morning. Thanks, Gene. Oh God, that's the football genius over there. But he's not. He has knowledge about all sports. So again, glad to have you aboard. Let's see what we have. What else we got here? The Final Four. The two Carolinas are going at it. Big old time rivalry there. South Carolina, I think, is favorite to win it all, followed by Iowa, UConn, and then North Carolina. So if you're making bets, that's what the order they're in. I won't count UConn out just because of Gino Auriemma. He's been there so many times. He has the experience. Calming effect, right? Game, he gets a little nutty, but during the week, he just works on the basics with them, sets up some plays, strategies, and that's why they're so good. So I think Gino might be the wild card in this whole thing. Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Paige Buckets is very good, and she's not as good. I don't think she's as good as Juju individually, or as Caitlin Clark. Not even close. I don't think. I think Caitlin Clark is is the one. She might be good as Reese, maybe scoring wise. Yes, Reese is better under the basket, blocking shots and grabbing rebounds. So everyone has their different way they affect the game. They're all just as important though. So we got the Final Four. We'll see who comes out on top. Haven't really heard about the men, right? Isn't it strange? Every year you hear about the men basketball. UConn's also, the men are involved too, and the men may have. Let's see what Jesus. Yeah, I think it is South Carolina's year, and UConn will give Iowa a problem. And Caitlin Clark's going to get her points. She has a bad game. That I highly doubt. You can only hope if you're a UConn fan anyway. So Dawn Staley, excellent ball player. So going in from basketball into the Major League Baseball, first no-hitter of the season, Ronald Blanco, the 30-year-old pitcher versus Toronto. Good lineup there, good offense. Shut them down. They kind of went after them 4 straight losses to the Yankees. They needed to, get something going there. And that's what your big pitcher does, right? He stops the bleeding when you have a losing streak. And that's what he did that. He did it very, very effectively, pitching the first no-hitter. Originally an edge infielder. As you know, a lot of baseball players come into the minors or playing amateurs at a different position. Roy White, Bobby Mercer for the Yankees, I know personally. They played, shortstop and second baseman, and they ended up going into the outfield. That's what normally happens. This guy decided to try out pitching at the age of 18, and he had an unusual schedule. Of course, he's, where he's from, he had to make a living also. So he was on the mound in the morning pitching, and he was at a car wash in the afternoon helping support his mom and, himself. I don't know how much he made at the car wash, but, it was enough to get by. Kind of a feel-good story that they don't talk about enough on major networks. How about Anthony Volpe? Big shoes to fill. Derek Jeter, a New York Yankee legend, playing shortstop as a rookie last year. This year, he's bound to get better. He went 4 for 4 when they did beat up on the Astros. Drove in a couple runs, couple doubles. He's worked on his swing. Last year, he felt he was too far back, trying to swing for the fences. This year, he's kind of up a little bit more on the plate, looking for those base hits. And the base hits can win the game just as easy as home runs, right? So, good mixture this year as far as the offense goes on the Yankees. of hitting for base hits and for power. The problem with the Yankees, of course, is their pitching, and Nestor Cortez got rocked against a very great offense over there with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They were kept in check the game before, but you're not going to keep that offense in check every game. The Yankees offense had to jump up and hit the ball better. Judge is in a slump. Stanton's in a slump. And they're both, especially Stanton. Judge will start hitting the ball and driving the ball into the bleachers. Stanton's very streaky. He'll have 10 games where he can hit 15 home runs, and then he cools off again. You just got to know when that is. I don't know how you know that, but this is how some batters go, and Stanton is very much one of those batters. When Volpe had the big game, also Bill Gill, a pitcher for the Yankees, came off Tommy John surgery. He pitched really well. He was tipping the pitching radar at 100 miles an hour, averaged about 97.7 miles per hour on his pitches. So hopefully he's a good addition to the staff and he can do something. Tonight's going to be a big night. I mean, if the Yankees lose the game, it ain't over. God, we're still just starting the baseball season. I know we get all excited. Some people get excited about spring training, but we get all excited at the beginning of the year, right? We're 4-0. Yeah, that doesn't last that long. Just hopefully it's not a long losing streak. We'll see what happens. The Orioles are still, to me, the class of the American League East with Toronto. Tampa Bay always seems to be in there near the end of the year, and the Yankees haven't been doing so well the last couple of years. Hopefully this year they do a little bit better. Mike Trout hits a 473-foot bomb against the Marlins, one of two. Mike Trout, again, he wants to play for the Angels. He wants to stay where he's at. Maybe 5 years from now he changes his mind. But right now he's steadfast. He wants to play for his team, even though Ohtani left and they really don't have no shot at winning the pennant this year. The Angels are a funny team. They spend a lot of money on players, but they really don't have no strategy as far as the farm system goes, and they're younger players. And there's some teams that do that. There's the Dodgers. The Dodgers, they have a farm system. The Dodgers have that. California doesn't. So California is a funny team. They haven't been there for a while. We'll see what happens with that. Adolis Garcia hits his 100th home run. Not a huge monumental thing today. 100th home run. Judge had 61 last year. But it is a number, right? So 100th home run for him over there. And let's see. That's for the Rangers. The Rangers, again, World Series winners last year. It's hard to repeat, especially when everybody, you kind of sneak up on everybody last year and win the World Series. That's not going to happen this year. They're going to play you tough. It's always a big game when you play a World Series winners, right? They're going to get their best from every player on the team when they go up against them. So good luck to them. Texas was a buzz last year. They're still buzzing this year. We'll see. I mean, they can. I almost fell for an April Fool's joke. I did. I read this article. I was writing it down. I was all excited. Ohtani gets busted. He was betting on Penn State baseball games. And I'm writing this all down. The producer Linda says, are you sure this is an April Fool's joke? And yes, it was. I mean, they had him pleading guilty. I'm thinking, why isn't he banned yet? They got me. But, we had this former radio personality, very popular, Sebastian, in the morning. He used to do practical jokes all the time, and he would catch people. He said that, the Avon Mountain was erupting like it was a volcano, and people believed it. He also came up with blue money. Believe it or not, he had people believing that the government would be printing blue money. So, he was really good at that. It was a long time ago. I was a kid when that came out, but very interesting. Let's see. NBA news. Rajon Rondon is retiring at 38 years old, wanting to spend time with his kids. And well, all that means is that, I'm done playing basketball. I'm not that good anymore. So, you come to a realization eventually. Every player does that. Hey, unless you're Tom Brady or maybe, LeBron James, hey, I'm just not that good anymore. 38 years old today is not really old compared to some of the players that are still playing today. But when your time goes down and everything, you don't feel like you're contributing anymore to a team. Basketball is now more of a burden than it is fun. It's time to go. And he had a decent career. Wasn't a great scorer. I think he scored around 10 points per game. He was an assist and defense guy, right? He was built out of the old mold of the point guards. He was a ferocious defender. He led the team in steals 2009 to 2010 and assists from 2011 to 2012. He was on the all-defensive team 4 times, won the NBA titles with Boston and the Lakers. Is he a Hall of Fame guy? And this is where we always get in big debates on who should go in the Hall of Fame and who shouldn't, right? Rondon, good career, strong. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. But today it's not the Hall of Fame, the greatest players of all time. It's the Hall of Very Good, right? So he's got a chance. I mean, I'm not against it. I'm not against him getting the Hall of Fame. I don't wish anybody any kind of, that they don't make the Hall of Fame. Hope he does. But if it was up to me, I wouldn't let him in. Unless he's paying. So, Devin Booker. Hey, good morning, Bo. Bo over there on NESSP at noon and Coast to Coast. He also does, he's on all the time. I don't know where he finds the time to get on all those shows. He's a very good host, one of the best we got on the network. Hopefully he's doing good today. Devin Booker tops 50 points for the 3rd game in a row, joining the great Wilt Chamberlain as the only player in NBA to score over 50 points in 3 consecutive games against one opponent. And Wilt Chamberlain, I think, everybody's joining Wilt Chamberlain in every category: points scored, rebounds, certain game situations. Everybody's joining Wilt, and Wilt Chamberlain, maybe the greatest basketball player of all time. 76er fans are excited, hopeful. Their big center, former MVP Joel Embiid, is back, played last night, had a good game. The knee is still kind of bothering him a little bit. He was kind of, he was worn out. He hadn't played in the game in a long time. So, he fell on the floor in exhaustion, and he was kind of running down the court with the basketball a little out of control. He got the fouls instead of, called for him instead of against them. A couple of those, I think, he just ran into the guy. So, but that's the way they call a game today. What are you going to do? But yeah, he's back. And when him and Maxey are together and healthy, one of the best duos in the NBA. So maybe 76ers take that next step and maybe they climb up the ladder a little bit to get a better matchup than they would falling down any more than they are. Joel Embiid is still a big presence under the basket, but can hit the outside shot. I think he's more physical than a lot of centers in the NBA. Maybe not the best. Maybe you'd have to go with Luka and, the Joker. They're the same guy, I think. Maybe he's not as good as Giannis. Giannis looks more like an athlete, but he's a bumper and a grinder, a center that could play, in the 80s when the NBA was a lot more physical. So Kobe Bryant's championship ring bought for $927,000. That's close to $1 million, folks. It's a nice ring. Really is. It is Kobe Bryant. I imagine, eventually other rings will come for sale. Michael Jordan's, maybe one of his championship rings will go on sale. Kind of once one thing happens, other things happen. LeBron James may have a championship ring when he's all done for sale. I wonder what they'll get. Maybe they make millions, $1 million. I think somebody would pay him over $1 million for a Michael Jordan championship ring, right? So let's talk a little bit about the current standings in the NBA. In the East, the playoff picture, you have Indiana at number 6, and we're giving you 6 down. We're not going to talk about the Celtics and then, so on. But number 6 is Indiana Pacers. Number 7, the Miami Heat, who beat the Knicks by 2 last night. Number 8, Philadelphia. Number 9, Chicago. And number 10, Atlanta. In the West, you have number 6, the Pelicans. Number 7, the Phoenix Suns. Number 8, the Kings. At number 9, the Los Angeles Lakers. And number 10 right now is the Golden State Warriors. I saw where there was another scuffle on the court involving Draymond Green. It seems like almost every game there's something going on with him. So some NFL news. As of yesterday, still haven't found Kansas City wide receiver Rashad Rice. He's alleged with causing a crash, or at least he was involved in a crash. Lamborghini, I think he was driving. And, instead of staying on the scene, kind of taking your lumps, maybe you get fined and suspended, he fled. He took off. And, two people ended up in the hospital. I can see some lawsuits coming as soon as they find him. But what are the Kansas City Chiefs going to do with him now? Is he off the team? I haven't seen that he's off the team yet. I would imagine something's coming down, right? He had a really good year last year. He was the second favorite target of Patrick Mahomes behind Kelsey. He was really the only wide receiver that was producing last year for him. This year, we'll see what happens. It seems like Kansas City has a lot of problems with vehicles and drinking. I'm not saying Rashid was drinking and driving. He could have been just texting or, whatever when this accident happened. We really don't know yet. No really investigation or reports of what was found in his car, if anything. But, now it's even worse. Now it's now he's become a fugitive, and now it just gets worse. And there's got to be somebody helping him, right? I mean, he's not just running around the streets of wherever he's at now. I mean, there's got to be either a family member or a friend that's helping him out, and that just gets them in trouble, right, for aiding and abetting. You want to help out your friend, but I'll tell you, if my friend came and he broke the law and he's knocking on my door, I'm saying, hey, I like you and everything. You're my buddy, but I'm not going to jail. So we'll see what happens when they find him. Where is Rashid? Where is he? Maybe a new board game out. Coming to where in the world is Rashid? Let's see. New York Giants news. Of course, I'm a big Giants fan, so I like to check out to see what's going on. Their safety, Jason Pinnock, earned $817,224 in pay-based performance. And a lot of teams are doing this now, right? It's a benefit. It's not against the salary cap, so it doesn't hurt the team at all. You get so many tackles, so many sacks, so many interceptions. You get, so much money. If you play in most of the games, you might get some more money. So he had a good year last year. Pinnock did. Imagine making $817,000 as a benefit. That's more than people making a year for a salary. But that's a whole nother discussion, isn't it? I mean, we talk about the wages that players make today are just outrageous. But it is what it is. I mean, movie stars get paid a lot of money too, right? New York Jets, Will McDonald poised for a breakout year. He's been poised for that for a little bit. Reddick, he says he'll give everything he can while he's on the field. Well, I hope so. You're getting paid to give everything you get to give on the field, right? I mean, you're getting paid a good salary now. So So you'll have Reddick, you'll have McDonald out there. Jets defense just got better, and we talked about this yesterday, right? I mean, the Jets already had a great defense. They got maybe a little bit better with Reddick there. Their offense is what it concerns. And if they have a good offense go with that good defense, they got a shot at getting the playoffs this year. If they don't, they'll end up close to what they were last year. That simple. The asking price for a third-round draft pick. This is really interesting because they're slated, or it's said that they're going to go after J.J. McCarthy. You know, that Michigan connection. We know that Tom Brady came out of Michigan. And, you know, J.J. McCarthy, they're saying is similar as Tom Brady was right now, a game manager. But if you want their third pick, if you want a shot at J.J. McCarthy, it's going to cost you a franchise quarterback. And sitting over there in Los Angeles is, Jim Harbaugh, former coach of J.J. McCarthy. He has who's considered a franchise quarterback in Justin Herbert. Would the Patriots be interested in a straight-up swap? Now, no matter what we think J.J. McCarthy could be, he hasn't played in the NFL yet. Justin Herbert has. He's come up a little short, here and there. But he did set a lot of records in his first few years. There, touchdowns and yardage. I mean, is he considered a franchise quarterback? And would the Patriots be interested in having him instead of J.J. McCarthy? I would. I still don't know what J.J. McCarthy is going to do in the NFL. I know what Justin Herbert is. I know that he would be a great addition to the Patriots. Big guy, athletic. So that's plausible to me. I mean, I hear a lot of different scenarios out there for draft. That one's plausible, So be interesting to see what develops with that. And, of course, we have our draft show coming up. In fact, Gene's going to be part of that this year. Got a lot of great shows this year, and we'll be, going off on the hour with different shows to cover the draft. It'll be Northeast Streaming Sports' third year doing this. So we kind of know what we're doing a little bit anyway. It gets long into the night. That first round is way too long. I get it. You want to get as much advertising and sponsorship money as you can. But damn. When Jack Theory brings something to eat, there's always a question of breaks. Same thing every year with Jack. And hopefully, we should have Keith Angle on with us. Sonia Pearson, some of you follow her. She should be on the draft with us this year. And we'll probably have Robert Butler back again. Robert Butler is back on Facebook. Great show, great host. He got taken off Facebook for whatever reason. Facebook is kind of crazy. So, anything can happen. If somebody complains about something, a community standard thing, they'll pull you off. But anyway, Robert Butler's back on Facebook, so be sure to look for him. But we have a good show. We have some former players and we have fans come on that, what happened with their pick. They give their insight into it. And we normally have a live broadcast with the Philly Sports Guy coming live from the draft. Last year wasn't that great because it was outside, and we really couldn't hear Pags last year. This year inside, hopefully that helps out. There's a lot of people, a lot of things going on, but we try to give you the best coverage we can as far as being live from the draft. I think Commander Nash might be there this year. Another guy that has been on the show before. Commanders super fan. Super fans go all over the country. Captain Jack, Sneaky G, they go all over the country. Their tickets are mainly paid for, but they do a lot of work for charity and stuff like that. So it's a nice little club they have there. But they normally get to the drafts and the Hall of Fame things and stuff like that. Pags even has pictures taken with Roger Goodell and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. Let's see what else we got. NHL news. Coaches that may not return next season. Jim Hiller from in L.A., Travis Green in New Jersey, Drew Bannister in St. Louis, Don Granalo. He's on shaky ground with Buffalo, the Sabres. We always have hope for the Sabres in the beginning of the season. And by the end of the season, we're saying what happened. Penguins head coach Mike Sullivan has been with Pittsburgh since 2015. How rare is that, right? How rare for a coach to stay there that long. He might be let go. If he is, there'll be plenty of suitors. So we'll see if Pittsburgh hangs on to him. I guess you got to eventually draw a line, right? If we're not making the playoffs and we're not going to Stanley Cup, it's time to go. And good luck wherever you go. I hope you all the greatest and the greatest luck in the world wherever you go. And it's not like that with our players, right? If you don't perform for our team, even if we like you, even if you're a good person, even if you're a decent or good player, then we need you to be a great player, and you're not, time comes. It's time to push on. You go to another team and you deliver, hey, we're happy for you because you were a part of this team before. So we're happy you're doing good over there, but you didn't do it while you were here. So, I think it comes a time of coaches too, right? We see that. We see that no matter how great you were before, great Tom Landry, of course, Bill Belichick, time to push on, man. So, boxing news, Rolly Romero breaks silence after the loss, says he'll be back stronger. What was he going to say? There's not much else to say, is there? I'll be back, but I'm not going to be as good as I was. I mean, that's not a good selling point, right? No, who wants to sign you? So he's going to come back after he complained of losing the last fight. And he's going to be stronger. So he's going to work out more, and maybe go to some classes, and he'll be ready for the next fight. Robert Garcia, he blames the trainer for the corner not stopping the fight in the Tissue fight after getting a cut that wouldn't stop bleeding in the second round. It's very iffy. It's very hard to stop a fight with a fighter that wants to continue going. We see this a lot. Not too many fighters say, I'm done, I can't do this. It's a macho thing. It's a thing that, to say you're defeated without going down like a warrior. A lot of boxers are like that. So it's one thing to say, hey, your corner's not looking out for your well-being. It's another thing to say, you're going to go against that fighter. He employs you. So you're going to say, well, no, listen, you're not going out there. He says, I am. 9 times out of 10, he's going back out there. Very rarely, and I've seen this once, a corner's telling a guy to go out there and a fighter's saying no. That was ridiculous. I forget the fight. I forget who the fighter was. I remember watching it, though. And, the fighter's saying, I had enough. And the corner's saying, no, you got to go back out there again. And he did have enough. He was getting walloped. So anyway, he will be back. Yeah. Hey, listen, Rocky didn't throw in a towel when he should have, right? Apollo got beat up. Well, he got worse than beat up, but he didn't throw the towel in. Because what did Creed tell him? Don't you dare stop this fight. Mike Tyson launches a blistering attack on jealous critics of his fight. And, of course, we know he's fighting Jake Paul, different rules. He's 58 years old. They're wearing headgear. The fight will not be stopped unless somebody's knocked out. Said the TKO. Old rules. John L. Sullivan days. Keep fighting until somebody hits the floor and can't get back up. Interesting. It's supposed to be an exhibition. I don't know. I think Mike Tyson is taking this to heart. I don't think it's an exhibition to him. And when promoters like Eddie Hearns, a big mouth, kind of tries to be like Don King. There's only one Don King, Eddie. Sit down. Eddie Hearns is always in the news. He said this is like a sideshow, you know. Barry McGunson claiming Tyson is too old, shouldn't be anywhere near a ring. You remember Rocky had to go. I'm using Rocky explosive. Boxing and Rocky just go together for some reason. You remember he had to go before a council and because of his age. So is that too old now? Watching the videos of Mike Tyson, he looks in great shape. He's nowhere close to where he was when he was younger, right? Younger, he was full of energy, but he looks good. He looks good for an old guy. Jake Paul, you know, trying to become a boxer, and he won't become a boxer as long as he keeps fighting MMA guys, former MMA greats, and old guys in the ring. That's not going to make him a boxer. It's going to make him a boatload of money. I'll tell you that. Mike Tyson and Jake Paul are going to make a boatload of money. It might be one of the biggest ever on PPV. And that's where Eddie Hearns comes in, right? He's not getting a piece of that. I guarantee you that if Mike Tyson and Jake Paul agreed to have Eddie Hearns as their promoter, he'd be out there publicizing this fight from now to sundown because he knows he's going to get some bucks. He gets nothing with this. And I agree, it's all jealousy, Mike. You're right. So today, not a lot of news. As I said, we're waiting for the draft to happen. We're waiting for the men to do something so that we can talk about them a little bit. NHL is almost at the playoffs. Basketball is almost at the playoffs right now. And draft is still a few weeks away. So we won't have a lot of news a lot of times. I try to find some little stories out there for you guys. I kind of did with the pitcher there, washing cars in the afternoon to sport themselves. I try to do stuff like that because it really doesn't get covered. But really not a lot of news out there right now. So we're going to kind of cut this a little short, about at the 3/4 mark, which isn't bad. I like to give you the full hour, though, like I did last time. So I apologize for that. Again, Jack Hirsch will be back April 10th. You're watching Northeast Streaming Sports, hopefully on our Roku channel. If you haven't done it yet, download that app. Go to the Roku store, channel search Northeast Streaming Sports, and there we are. Just click on the channel, download it, and you'll be getting sports all day, all night now, into the morning. If you look at the last post I had, we do have shows in the morning now. So, if you work first, second shift and you come home and you watch some sports, we'll be there for you. So with that, Coffee and Sports will be up next on the Roku channel. Chris and Mo, they're great at what they do. Very, very knowledgeable in all sports, followed by the rest of our lineup today, Northeast Professional Sports at Night, where all your favorite hosts come on from Northeast Streaming Sports shows, and we talk about sports today, and that'll be that. So, folks, have a great Wednesday. Stay out of trouble if you can, and we'll see you tonight on the Roku channel, Northeast Streaming Sports. Take it easy.